Hello everyone, it's the season of Halloween, and for the month of October I decided to bring back the Final Cut segment. I sat down one afternoon and on Peacock I saw that they had all the Psycho films. Now, I was aware of the Psycho sequels. I've only seen the 1960 Hitchcock original, and I saw the Gus Van Sant remake. I wasn't really a big fan of that. And then I saw Bates Motel. I've never seen the individual Psycho sequels, even though I heard high praise of them. I decided to give Psycho 2 a chance, and I wasn't sure what to think going in. You know, how can you beat a classic? Well, you do it by not trying to replicate it. You do it by continuing the story. That is what they do. Psycho 2 is a criminally underrated horror sequel, and it's also a film that's better than you think it will be. I loved Psycho 2. And I loved it because it was good on its own terms, you know. A sequel to Psycho had no business being this well done. Anthony Perkins, of course, returns as Norman Bates 22 years after the original film. Richard Franklin was a director. He directed Road Games, FX2, Cloak and Dagger. I like his work, and he does a great job here. Cinematographer is Dean Cundey, who of course is a cinematographer that worked with John Carpenter on Halloween and The Thing. And this is written by Tom Holland. No, not Spider-Man, but Tom Holland, the writer-director of Fright Night and Child's Play. What I really enjoy about this film is that it basically makes Norman Bates the hero of this story in a way, and we get to see more of what makes him tick, you know. In the original film, we had so much style and substance to it, so many twists and turns, and it ended with that haunting expression of Norman Bates. This one starts and he is released somehow, absurdly released, but it works for this. Robert Loggia plays his doctor. He does a great job here. You may have recognized him in Scarface and Independence Day, as well as Big. And then we also have Vera Miles return as Lila Loomis, aka Lila Crane from the original film. It's cool seeing certain characters come back and actors come back from the original. It feels like a true successor to the Hitchcock original film. And they actually went to Alfred Hitchcock's daughter and asked permission, like, would you think a Psycho 2 would work? And she said he would have loved it. They made it, but they decided not to go and base it off the source material of the novels. They decided to make their own story. And that's what they do here. We get to see Norman Bates kind of like reintegrate into society in a way. And this is where he meets Mary, played by Meg Tilly. I think her and Anthony Perkins give the best performances in this film. And I really think Meg Tilly does a great job as Mary, not only befriending Norman, but also coming to his defense. It's just a great character with an outside perspective that doesn't know what happened in the past. And then once she does, it gets more interesting with the plot. We also have Dennis Franz in a role. That's right, from NYPD Blue. He played the cop on Die Hard 2. You get some effects that you could tell they had to work around stuff practically pre-CG, but I think that's part of the charm of it. And how they rebuilt the Bates Motel, the house, and had certain props from the original film. It felt very close to the spirit of the original, and the opening is even the famous shower scene from Psycho. It goes from black and white to color. I like that transition because we as audience members feel the passing of time. And like the passing of time, you cannot escape your past, you know. And that's one thing that's brilliant about this film with Norman Bates. And I like seeing him work at this diner, washing dishes, befriending Mary, and dealing with the townspeople judging him for what happened in the past, and him really trying to make a living again, trying to move forward from all the trauma of the past, not only the murders, but the past with his mother. And what makes this film interesting is that Norman Bates is not the murderer. There's other murders going on, and he feels like he's losing his mind. People are prank calling him and leaving him notes saying it's from his mother, and somebody is messing with him. There's a bigger mystery here. Any other slasher sequel would be like, bring him back and up the body count. This film doesn't do that. I think he only kills like one person really in this film. Everything else is like a completely different character and a completely different story. It's much more psychological, and in that way it does feel true to the Hitchcock original film. There are some gory elements they're able to get away with a little bit more than they were in the original. And it's just something about seeing it in color. I like how this stands on its own compared to the original Psycho. And I think the character analysis and making Norman the hero adds to this film and makes it underrated, because you're not expecting to root for this guy. you almost don't want him to go crazy. It kind of reminded me a bit of Secret Window with Johnny Depp and Joker with Joaquin Phoenix. And by that I mean like somebody you know has issues, but you really want them to be good and get well. You don't want them to go bad, but you know that might be inevitable. You know there's gonna be a trigger there that's gonna turn them into the person they are naturally are. And that's the genius of this movie, is it almost like there's almost like a ticking time bomb. And I really enjoyed this sequel. I can't believe it's taken me this long to watch it. I think I'm gonna watch Psycho 3 and Psycho 4. I know that was a Showtime movie that was made for TV, but I heard it's really good. I love the original. I've seen the original since I was like in middle school in Turner Classic Movies, watched it in film school. I own the Blu-ray of the original, but I never took a chance to see the sequel, and I really enjoyed it. Besides its mystery, there's also bigger twists and turns with the characters, especially in the third act. There's many videos on YouTube going over spoilers. I won't go over spoilers in the final cut, but all I'm going to say is this film is criminally underrated, and it definitely makes the final cut. Very rare do we have a sequel that stands on its own yet measures up to the original. And in my opinion, I think this measures up to the original. In some people's opinions, they like this better than the original film. I still kind of like the Alfred Hitchcock original movie, not just because of the nostalgia, but the way it's shot and everything. I think it's just a little bit better. But this film is by no means a bad movie. Hell no, this is a great film. And I think it holds up quite well as a companion piece to Psycho for the Norman Bates story. And that's what Richard Franklin basically went out to do, is make the Norman Bates story. So you think of the two films in conjunction with each other. It's not like, well, here's Psycho 2.0, you know. It's like, no, here's the story continuing, you know. And I like that, and Anthony Perkins gives his finest performance here, and I didn't think that was possible after the first film. Overall, I really enjoyed it, and if you have not seen Psycho 2 or want to revisit it, you can check it out on Peacock, and you can also check out these other films that are similar. I think if you enjoy Psycho 2, you may enjoy these other films. And Psycho 2 definitely makes the final cut. If I had to give it a score, I'd give it an A+. It is a superb horror sequel, and it's very rare to have a great sequel, let alone a great horror sequel. And this is one of them. Anyway, let me know your thoughts of Psycho 2. Have you seen it? What is your favorite Psycho film? Let me know down in the comments below. In the meantime, you can check out these other videos for the Halloween season. Till next time, everyone.